The Port of Miami. Considered the cruise capital of the world, it is a must-visit place for any maritime enthusiast. Every year, millions of passengers embark from here on all kinds of vacations. They do this by boarding a wide variety of cruise ships from one of the nearly dozen terminals located on Dodge Island. The port has been an integral part of the modern cruise industry ever since it came into fruition in the early to mid-1960s, thanks to its close proximity to the Caribbean Sea. It has seen all kinds of passenger ships in that time, ranging from small converted ocean liners like Carnival Cruise Line's first vessel, the 18,300-ton Mardi Gras, all the way to the largest of them all, Royal Caribbean International's 250,000-ton Icon of the Seas. Miami and its residents have pretty much seen it all, witnessing cruise ships ranging widely in size, looks, and complexity. Every once in a while, the port receives a very unique addition, and that certainly was the case back in July 2010. As the brand new vessel steamed up the channel on the afternoon of July 7 to dock at one of the empty terminals, onlookers gathered around to get a close look. At nearly 156,000 tons, she was the second largest in service and the largest ever to call the port home. She was a part of the unofficial trio of large vessels coming out during that time, affectionately called the Big Three, which included Oasis of the Seas and Carnival Dream. However, unlike the other two, this vessel would be a source of widespread controversy, ranging from her external appearance and layout, to several construction issues that threatened her very existence. Meant to be a noticeable break from traditional cruising, she was designed to be a huge leap forward in size and experience from her owner's previous vessels, and she would go on to heavily influence the design of one of the most successful classes of ships in history. This new vessel, the first mega cruise ship for her owners, was Norwegian Epic. It does not take much for even the average person to realize that Epic is a unique addition to the cruise industry. Ever since the first renderings were released back in the late 2000s, she has always been a topic of conversation. Although the story of Epic goes way beyond things like her external appearance. It is a story of the desire to design something radically different and fresh, while paying homage to previous and successful vessels. While the early days seem promising, the story of her birth is one filled with uncertainty, disappointment, and arguments that is almost unequaled in modern shipbuilding, to the point that the very idea of her being completed was unknown. Epic's origins largely come from the environment found in the cruise industry in the early to mid-2000s. Since the selling of the company from their visionary founder, Clone Kloster, to start cruises in 2000, NCL had been primarily focused on enhancing the cruising experience, rather than putting out city-at-sea revolutionary ships like other cruise lines. Rather, in a similar manner to Carnival Cruise Line, their ships more or less followed the same general design in size and layout across several classes, which also had the side benefit of allowing more to be built within a quicker time frame. Some of these vessels were also acquired from other cruise lines for various reasons, but they were about the same general size as NCL's new builds. All of these vessels, which included members of the Sun, Dawn, Leo, Pride of America, and Jewel classes, were under 100,000 tons in displacement. However, that does not make them subpar in providing a fantastic cruise experience. For example, as a way to break away from tradition and to provide an experience not found anywhere else, NCL introduced the idea of freestyle cruising in late 1999 with Norwegian Sky, which was acquired from Costa Cruises during the vessel's construction. The idea of freestyle cruising was to free one from a schedule, mainly from fixed or formal dining times. It also allowed for additional venues and food and entertainment to be placed on board. This simple move proved to be very popular, and it ended up rippling in different forms into other cruise lines down the road. However, largely thanks to the revolutionary design and popularity of Royal Caribbean's new Voyager class, attitudes began to shift within the cruising industry. What cruise lines began to realize was that the city-at-sea megaship concept not only proved to be more popular than expected, but it also brought on board numerous new passengers that never thought about cruising beforehand. Even Carnival was beginning to dream of a mega class of their own, and unlike previous attempts to build something radical, it went far beyond a concept. At the same time, Royal Caribbean was beginning to dream up a new class of their own, one that would break all kinds of boundaries. Projects Pinnacle, Next Generation, and Genesis, even if not publicly known, showed that this major shift was occurring. And thanks to the ever-growing size of ships, largely thanks to Royal Caribbean, it was demonstrated that big ships, if designed correctly, proved to be moneymakers like never before. NCL began to realize that they too needed to do something. Simply continuing to build sub-100,000 ton ships that fall under the Panamax category in hull design was not going to allow them to compete at this new level. While they knew that going bigger in size was needed, they decided to follow the same approach as their previous classes. What would make their new megaship special was not necessarily the size, but the differences in design that would alter the typical cruise experience. All the stops would need to be pulled in order to win this race into the infant mega cruise ship industry. 2006 was a big year of announcements for the industry. In January, Carnival announced the beginnings of the Dream Class, which was the first alteration in large ship design for the company since Carnival Destiny in 1996. In February, Royal Caribbean officially announced Project Genesis, which would be the first vessel to exceed 200,000 tons. And in September, Norwegian Cruise Line announced their new class. An order was placed at the STX shipyard in Saint-Nazaire, France, to build two 150,000-ton vessels with an option for a third. The first vessel, known as Hull C-33, had an expected completion date of mid-2010. This endeavor was known as the F3 project. Although no renderings were released, just knowing the tonnage indirectly told people what to expect. Even though the tonnage was comparable to other large ships at the time, such as the newly completed 154,000-ton Freedom of the Seas, this class was going to be a quantum leap from the company's previous builds, being nearly 60% bigger compared to the Jewel class. For the next year, C-33's design began to be worked on, and preparations were made at the shipyard to build the new Colossus. C-33 would start construction sometime in late 2007, and D-33 would follow soon thereafter. With general arrangement plans finalized, construction of C-33 began on October 2, 2007 with the steel cutting ceremony. While the thousands of steel plates continued to be cut and welded together to create the grand blocks, few minor adjustments continued to be made, largely being the interior, as is typical in shipbuilding. Progress was steady, and by late winter, most of the hull grand blocks were ready to go. April 24, 2008 marked the beginning of the assembly process with the keel laying ceremony. The first block to go into the dry dock was number 5006, and it was a part of the double bottom section of the hull. Within the 322-ton steel section was a tube that held inside a specially designed coin meant to give C-33 good luck. NCL CEO Colin Vitch took the opportunity to talk a little more about the upcoming class. The F3 ships are our most innovative project in the company's 41-year history and will provide a totally unique vacation experience. Today, as we lay the keel for this groundbreaking new ship, we are one step closer to revolutionizing cruising as we know it. The chairman of Star Cruises also said, "History is in the making today as NCL's first F3 ship begins to take shape. We are proud to be a part of bringing this new innovative ship to fruition, one unlike any the world has seen before." Additional information was also given out, such as the fact that 100% of C-33's 1,415 outside cabins would have private balconies, and that there would be a wider range of room choices than any of their previous ships. Things were looking bright, and with C-33's assembly now underway, her running mate, D-33, would soon begin construction. However, as this project began to take on positive momentum, things very quickly took a turn for the worse. The first of the plethora of issues began to start back in August 2007, just several months before C-33's steel cutting ceremony. In a move to strengthen NCL's financial position, Star Cruises sold 50% of NCL to Apollo Management, a US private equity firm. As a result of the sale, members of the new owners wanted to make a number of last-minute changes to the F3 design, and these changes were not minor ones. They were in fact so extensive that it would add several thousand tons of displacement and would drastically alter the construction costs. During mid-2008, a dispute between NCL and STX began to brew behind the scenes regarding the higher costs and new changes. Rumors began to circulate around the industry and online that this was occurring, and progress of the assembly of C-33 noticeably declined. Some eagle-eyed viewers even noticed that mentions of D-33 on NCL's press release page had been removed. It was in September 2008 that the rumors were confirmed. In an unusual and rare move, the shipyard released a statement regarding the disagreement. It said, "The dispute relates to the ongoing construction of the vessel currently named C-33. This is the first of the two vessels ordered by NCL in 2006. The vessels are scheduled for delivery in 2010. The dispute is not related to the second of the two ships, named Hull D-33. While the process to find a solution is ongoing, Atcar Yards France aims at continuing the ongoing work on the C-33 vessel, which is approximately 25% complete." It was also indirectly posted by Cruise Critic that construction would halt on C-33 for 6 weeks while a solution was found. And in November, NCL CEO was quickly removed, and the vacancy was filled by CFO Kevin Sheehan. Things seemed to not be going in the right direction, and by early December there was still no word on a solution. It seemed that the F3 project was doomed for failure, or even worse, the scrapyard. Finally, on December 18, 2008, a press release was issued. Would the project continue on, or would the endeavor be cancelled altogether? The report said, Norwegian Cruise Line and STX France Cruises SA announced today that they have reached an agreement and are moving forward with the construction of the F3 cruise ship project. NCL and STX Europe have agreed to revise the original F3 order. STX France Cruise is now building one F3 ship at 150,000 tons with a total of 4,200 passenger berths, representing the largest ship in NCL's fleet. This will mean a continuation of the original hull, which is currently in the early phases of construction, with delivery set for late May 2010, as originally scheduled. The planned second vessel, currently only in the preparatory stages, will not be built. Further terms of the agreement were not disclosed. Also in the release was a quote given by the newly appointed CEO. "With this agreement, we can all focus on completing the new vessel successfully. We are looking forward to the arrival of our much-anticipated F3 ship, as it represents a major step forward for NCL in terms of ship size, design, and innovation." At last the dispute was resolved. C-33 would be completed, but her running mates, D-33, and the possible third sister were no longer going to be reality. It is amazing to think that as this was all unfolding, that no one knew what these ships were going to look like, or even what their names would be. The only clue anyone had was looking at the dozens of grand blocks sitting idle at the shipyard. With the drama now over, NCL took the opportunity to begin looking ahead and to generate new excitement over C-33. On January 27, 2009, C-33 received a name. The largest and most innovative ship for NCL would be known as Norwegian Epic. The F3 experience will take our already successful freestyle cruising to the next level, affording guests the ultimate freedom and flexibility. Norwegian Epic, denoting a ship that is very impressive on a grand scale, is the most fitting name. The combination of the ship's exciting new features, along with the tropical allure of these Caribbean destinations, will provide an extraordinary cruise vacation for our guests. Tied in with the name reveal was some additional information of possible itineraries and amenities. After being delivered in summer 2010, Epic would perform several press trips in Europe and the US before making her debut in Miami, sailing on alternating 7-night Eastern and Western Caribbean cruises until April 2011. Some interesting venues revealed included a 3-lane bowling alley, an adults-only aft pool deck, and an ice bar. Even a new type of cabin was revealed, known only as the Wave Staterooms, which would include standard, balcony, and deluxe versions. The rooms promised to be a fresh take in cruise ship cabin design. Despite the big announcement and the new information, no renderings were released. It would not be until March 3, 2009 that the exterior renderings were released, along with some of the basic dimensions. Epic would be 1,068 feet long, 133 feet wide, and come in at 153,000 gross tons. The balcony-heavy profile lacked the typical NCL hull artwork, but it was stated that it would be revealed later on. Rather than generating even more excitement as NCL had hoped, the release of the initial exterior renderings quickly caused quite a bit of controversy. Many called her bland, seemingly top-heavy, and outright ugly, with many pointing towards the accommodation block on the forward top end of the superstructure, which would be the suite-only area. Apparently, that whole area was one of the several additions by Apollo management that caused the dispute that lasted several months. While the concept of the true ship-within-a-ship concept was a brilliant one, and one of the first in the industry, the execution was, for many, an eyesore. According to Apollo management, the design was to pay homage to one of their well-beloved ships, the SS Norway, which had only been recently scrapped in Along, India. As construction continued, NCL continued to slowly release more information on the different accommodations and new venues. By April, Epic's hull was completed, with the lowering and welding into place block number 642, a 445-ton section of the upper bow. On May 7th, the much-anticipated hull art was released. And like everything else with this new addition to the fleet, it was a breakaway from traditional NCL hull art. Rather than featuring artwork related to where the vessel sails or the name, the simple multicolor waves and small gray spheres represented the modern and innovative design of the ship itself. Kevin Sheehan said this regarding the artwork. A Norwegian cruise line ship is instantly recognizable with its distinctive hull art that conveys each ship's personality and the freedom and flexibility that is found on board. With Norwegian Epic, we are taking freestyle cruising to the next level, so it is fitting that her hull artwork conveys more of the modern, sleek designs guests will find once they are on board the ship. On May 28th, another source of controversy regarding the exterior design began to make its way across the city of Saint-Nazaire to the shipyard. The small twin funnels. Made up of 3 separate sections and weighing in at 45 tons, the block was lifted up and welded into place on June 4th. Just 13 days later, the last of the grand blocks was placed onto the superstructure, number 0898. Weighing 563 tons, it comprised of the forwardmost section of the suite-only area on decks 16, 17, and 18. With Epic's hull and superstructure now complete, the time had come for her to float out of the dry dock. That came on the 11th of July. The night prior, the dry dock had been filled following a hull inspection, and the Colossus began to float on her own for the first time. Starting at 7 a.m., the largely empty hull was slowly pulled out by 6 tugs and maneuvered to the fitting out pier nearby. The whole process took about an hour and a half. With Epic now at the fitting out pier, Work could now truly commence on finishing her extensive interiors, as well as starting to bring all of the electronics and machinery online. Her next big milestone would occur in early February 2010. For 4 days, she performed her first sea trials in the Atlantic in order to fully test her machinery for the first time, as well as her performance and seaworthiness. On board were 300 technicians and engineers from STX and 30 representatives of NCL. After passing all of the necessary tests, which included speed runs and trials of her maneuverability, hydrodynamics, and propulsion, she returned back to the shipyard on the 14th. Her second round of trials would occur just before delivery. By spring, the home stretch was in view. Ever since the dispute was resolved, construction had gone by relatively uneventfully. However, Epic's construction issues were far from over. On May 3rd, a fire broke out on Deck 4, which resulted in wiring damage. Just several days after that, another started around the water slides. And several weeks after that, a third ignited while an open house was going on. Many involved in the event were family members of the shipyard workers, and they were promptly evacuated. Thankfully, there were no injuries or casualties involved with any of these incidences. But in an interesting twist, none of the causes of the fires could be identified. The first one was especially mysterious, as there was no welding work occurring there, and it prompted the French police to get involved. It was speculated that it was started by several workers due to the financial dispute, but no one really knows for sure what happened. Thankfully, despite the damage, the delivery date was not postponed. Within several weeks of the second sea trials, the last of the major furnishings of the interior were being installed, which included the largest chandelier ever put to sea. The 21-foot high, 11-foot wide, and 2 metric ton lighting fixture took 3 weeks to install. It hangs just above the Epic Casino and is visible from 3 decks. The 40,000 crystal glass pieces reflect up to 255 possible LED lighting combinations. Having been virtually completed, Epic departed the shipyard again on July 11 for 2 more days of sea trials to really see how she would perform as a completed cruise ship. After returning back on the 13th, final official work was carried out by STX. It was the day that NCL had been hoping and dreaming of for so long. The day when they would finally acquire Norwegian Epic for themselves and send her off into her next phase in life. Norwegian Epic represents the next level of freestyle cruising, with branded entertainment, more than 20 dining options, and a wide range of accommodations, including the largest suite complex at sea. Following more than 4 years of development and construction, we are pleased to take ownership of this beautiful ship and introduce her to the world. We are confident that Norwegian Epic will amaze our guests. She was now officially complete. She came out at a whopping 155,873 gross tons, making her the second largest passenger ship. At 1,081 feet long, 133 feet wide, and 200 feet high, she was by far the most impressive member of NCL's fleet. Across her 19 decks were all sorts of new and returning favorites. With a capacity to carry 4,100 passengers in double occupancy, she has 18 different room categories for them to choose from. Along with the new wave cabins, which feature curving walls rather than traditional straight ones, there were also solo cabins. The 100 square foot rooms were actually originally intended to be standard inside cabins. However, in an effort to provide something never seen in the cruising industry, Epic offers several small but well laid out rooms for solo travelers, a group of people that cruise lines had never really catered to before, especially since paying for a cruise ticket requires paying for at least 2 passengers, regardless if you are by yourself or not. They also get their own private lounge and bar located conveniently nearby. The suite-only area on decks 16, 17, and 18 is the first true suite-only area, completed with a courtyard that has a pool and 2 whirlpools. They also have their own dining room, lounge, bar, spa, gymnasium, and sun deck within the complex. Sitting amidships on decks 15, 16, and 17 are the 2 off-centered pools, 5 whirlpools, and the first waterslide complex for NCL. It features 3 slides, the largest of which, called the Epic Plunge, is 200 feet long, and it takes nearly a minute to get to the bottom. Towards the aft section is the sports deck, rock climbing wall, and an adults-only area called Spice H2O. Dotted throughout are 18 bars and lounges, the most impressive of which, and the first at sea, is the Svedka Ice Bar, which is a facility kept at a constant -7 degrees Celsius, as the whole room, sculptures, and even part of the glasses are made entirely of ice. 14 different dining options provide a good variety of food not seen before on any NCL ship. From the 2-level Manhattan dining room on Deck 6 overlooking the aft wake, to the 217-seat Spiegel tent, which features a show tied in with the meals. For entertainment, there are plenty of choices, from the 685-seat Epic Theater to a 3-lane bowling alley on Deck 6. On Deck 7 is a jogging track that encircles most of the lower hull and 20 lifeboats of 2 different variations. Powering Epic are 6 diesel-electric engines that drive 2 fixed-shaft propellers, driving her at an average speed of 22 knots. There are also 4 bow and 2 stern thrusters that help aid with maneuvering in and out of port. Following the signing of documents and the official transferring of the ship, Norwegian Epic left Saint-Nazaire behind for the port of Rotterdam. For the next few weeks, she did several short pre-inaugural cruises out of different ports, with the last ending in Southampton on June 22nd. Between then and the morning of the 24th, the crew worked around the clock to truly prepare her for her long-awaited maiden voyage. June 24, 2010 had arrived, and the world's second largest cruise ship officially entered service. For the next 7 days, the sold-out Norwegian Epic crossed the Atlantic on her way to New York. On July 1st, the historic port, which had seen so many famous ships, some of them being on their maiden voyages, welcomed the biggest passenger ship to ever dock there. After being officially christened on the 2nd and taking part in a fireworks display on July 4, Epic departed for Miami on the 5th for a 2-day deadhead crossing to Miami. Just as it was in New York, the historic port of Miami welcomed the largest passenger ship to call it home. On July 10, she departed Miami for her first normal voyage, which was a 7-night Eastern Caribbean cruise that included the ports of St. Thomas, St. Martin, and Nassau. A week later, she went on our first Western Caribbean cruise to Costa Maya, Mexico, Roatan, Honduras, and Cozumel, Mexico. With her first few voyages now concluded, it was time to ask what the initial group of passengers thought of NCL's first megaship. At best, the reviews were mixed. Starting with the things that passengers collectively didn't enjoy, and leaving out the exterior appearance, the most common criticism were the cabin layouts, specifically how the bathrooms were incorporated. Typically, the bathroom is all enclosed in one private room. The toilet, shower, sink, and storage are all conveniently located in one area. However, in a pursuit to design something fresh and to seemingly create additional cabin space, those entities are spread apart throughout the room. After walking into a typical room, on one side is the toilet, and on the other the shower. Okay, so 2 people can theoretically be using this space, right? Well, the doors are glass, for one, and the only thing separating this from the actual cabin is just a curtain, and the sink is in the cabin itself, usually being a part of the wardrobe and desk section. It also didn't help that the light switch for the bathroom area was underneath one of the cabinets. Another issue was the overall layout of the public decks. Specifically on decks 5, 6, and 7, frequent bottlenecking in specific venues became a continual problem. Most of the time, these people were simply trying to get in and out of one venue, which required to go through other venues currently being utilized. The Epic Casino on Deck 6 was identified as one of the main venues that saw this problem, being wedged in between the main dining room and several specialty restaurants. One last major complaint was the severe lack of outward-looking venues. Other than a small section of the running track and a few public spaces on Decks 5 and 6, the only place to really enjoy the outside world was on the exterior top decks, which frequently get crowded, especially on sea days. Seemingly the only good section was the sun deck located on top of the suite-only block on Deck 18, but that was due to the fact that it was not easy to get to. Even with a noticeable number of negatives, there were some positives. First, the cabins in general, including the new wave type, got praise. The unique design is something they had never seen before, having the walls curve. This in turn allowed for some of the cabins to receive larger than standard beds. The LED and ceiling backlighting made the space feel a lot more open and larger than it actually was. The studio cabins and solo travelers' public rooms were also a great hit. The entertainment spaces and shows were also a home run, although there were a few complaints regarding the Cirque Dreams and dinner venue. The sheer fact that Epic was 60% bigger than NCL's previous largest ships meant the introduction and return of many venues under dining and entertainment, which obviously allowed the cruiser to have more choice in deciding what they wanted to do. Despite the strengths Epic had, the number of issues passengers had, especially regarding the cabin bathroom situation, meant that she was not as popular as NCL would have hoped once the initial excitement had died down. After spending almost a year in Miami, she repositioned to Barcelona to cruise around the Mediterranean. Over there, she performed a lot better, as things like the cabin issues were actually not a problem, since that kind of bathroom layout was a common thing to find in most European hotels. Ever since then, as expected, she has spent the majority of the time cruising in Europe, with the occasional winter sailing season out of the ports of Miami or Canaveral. In early February 2019, Epic suffered 2 separate issues with one of her electric motors that resulted in the portside propeller being inoperable. As a result, changes were made to the cruising itinerary as her power had now been reduced by half. The changes included a stop at San Juan, Puerto Rico, a harbor that she had never been to, in order to better survey the situation. In the early evening of the 12th, after picking up the pilot and discussing the expected maneuver into Pier 3 with the master, Epic began her final approach. 2 tugs were to help aid with the maneuver, with a third on standby. However, due to the poor communication between the pilot and the master, Epic struck 2 of the mooring dolphins, resulting in hull damage, the collapse of the structures into the harbor, and an estimated $3.5 million in damage to the port, as well as $200,000 to Epic. Afterward, all ports of call were cancelled until the damage could be repaired. As of the making of this video, Norwegian Epic is continuing to sail for Norwegian Cruise Line out of Port Canaveral on 7-night cruises into the Caribbean. Epic is a fine example of what can happen when an almost entirely new product is introduced. A product with the future in mind is going to have some good characteristics, but there are also going to be quite a lot of issues and bugs that either need to be fixed, or if it can't be fixed at all, should never be attempted again. It is very rare that a product like that comes out with everything hitting the nail on the head. Even with all of her troubles, Epic has had time to develop a good reputation, especially in Europe. But there are still plenty of issues that can't be resolved unless she is pretty much gutted or redone. But looking at the overall grand scheme of things, she is a very important ship for Norwegian. Thanks to the feedback and the issues they found themselves, they incorporated many of the needed changes whilst continuing to innovate, and what resulted was one of the most successful classes of passenger ships in history, let alone being NCL's best lineup of ships to date. The 8 members of the Breakaway class are heavily influenced by Epic's design, both in the positive and negative sense. The cabin designs were improved, the suite-only section better incorporated into the existing superstructure, the public deck layout allowed for better flow, and the ability to enjoy the scenery, whether outside or inside, was no longer a problem. In short, Epic could be unofficially classified as the alpha version of the Breakaway class. Perhaps it is a blessing that she is a single child, with her 2 sisters being cancelled before construction could start on them. Thanks to the forward-looking minds of the NCL new build team, as well as the simple move of actually listening to their guests, they were able to launch even better ships. Norwegian Epic may be a one-off, the ugly duckling of the mega cruise ship generation to some. However, it is because of her peculiar design, issues with construction, and the innovative engineering that proved to be both good and bad, that make her an integral part in the early years of that important generation of cruise ships.
You know it still hurts a little bit, but not that much. 'Cause if you want somebody else, who am I to judge? I've been thinking about you all the time, but that's alright. I'm starting to get used to it, think I'll survive. I met you in the summer, when you left it was cold. Said we loved one another, guess that we were wrong. I met you in the summer, our love was out of control. I've been going crazy without you, I'm so alone. I met you in the to do. I'm just staring at my walls and talking to myself. Now and then I'll try to laugh, but I'll cry a bit as well. I was never any good at being away from you. I met you in the summer, when you left it was cold. Said we loved one another, guess that we were wrong. I met you in the summer, our love was out of control. I've been going crazy without you, I'm so alone. I met you in the that much. 'Cause if you want somebody else, who am I to judge? I met you in the summer, when you